In the time it takes me to say this sentence, thousands of coffee pods have just been produced and tossed into landfills worldwide. Three years ago, I was completely obsessed with my Nespresso machine. I'm talking 4, sometimes 5 pods a day. I genuinely believed I was living the coffee dream. Then my credit card statement arrived. I spent 10 minutes staring at my monthly coffee subscription charge, $87 for 1 month, just on little aluminum capsules. That's when I started doing the math. That changed everything.
What if I told you that your beloved Nespresso or Keurig machine might actually be one of the biggest scams of modern life? I'm about to challenge everything you think you know about coffee pods. We're diving deep into the hidden costs that the billion-dollar coffee industry doesn't want you to see. Financial costs, environmental disasters, and yes, even potential health risks. This isn't just research, this is my personal journey from pod addiction to coffee enlightenment. By the end of this video, you'll either never touch a coffee pod again, or you'll have some serious ammunition for your next coffee debate. Here's how they hook you. I remember buying my first Nespresso machine for $69 on sale. I felt so smart, getting premium espresso without the hefty investment of a real espresso machine. What I didn't calculate was the monthly subscription that would follow me around like a financial vampire. Let me share the math that made me question my life choices. My daily usage is 4 Nespresso pods. At 75 cents each, that's $3 a day, $90 a month, over $1,000 a year, just on coffee. A single Nespresso original line capsule, 65 cents to 85 cents. Their premium Virtuo line, we're talking 95 cents to $1.50 per single pod. But here's what really blew my mind when I started weighing these things. A coffee pod contains maybe 5 to 9 grams of coffee. I was literally paying for half a cup and calling it premium. When you break this down per pound of actual coffee, Nespresso is charging you $52 to $81 per pound. I could buy premium single origin beans from the best roasters in the world for less than that. Meanwhile, quality whole bean coffee averages $9 to $22 per pound. The Colombian beans I now use daily, $14 a pound. They last me 2 weeks. So I ran my own experiment. I tracked my spending for 3 months with pods, then 3 months after switching to a simple setup with fresh beans. Pods, $267 for 3 months. Fresh beans with a $20 French press, $48 for 3 months. That's a savings of over $870 per year. One analysis I found confirms what I discovered. Despite the higher upfront cost, a bean machine becomes cheaper than a capsule machine in just 11 months. But the financial scam was just the beginning of what I uncovered. The financial hit was bad enough. But then I started noticing something that made me physically sick. Every morning I'd toss another aluminum capsule in the trash. One day I decided to save them for a week instead of throwing them away. By Sunday I was staring at 28 empty pods in 1 week from just me. I started calculating. If I kept this up for a year, that would be nearly 1,500 pods, just from my coffee habit alone. Then I discovered the global numbers, and my personal guilt became existential horror. 576,000 metric tons of coffee capsule waste are generated globally every year. 56 billion coffee pods end up in landfills annually. That's 95% of all pods produced. I actually did this experiment. I saved every pod I used for a month, laid them out on my kitchen table. It was disgusting. 28 pods became over 100, and that was just me trying to be conscious about it. If you laid all the world's discarded pods end to end, they would circle the earth 57 times. We're talking about 168 million kilograms of waste each year. Now, the companies love to tell you these things are recyclable. Nespresso even sent me a fancy recycling bag with my order. But here's my honest experience trying to recycle them. First, I had to save up enough pods to make a trip worthwhile. Then drive to a special drop-off location 20 minutes from my house. The nearest one wasn't even at a regular recycling center. I did this exactly once. The convenience that sold me on pods in the first place, it completely disappeared the moment recycling entered the picture. Independent sources say only 5% of pods actually get recycled, despite company claims of much higher rates. I kept a jar of my used pods on my counter for 2 months as a reminder. Every morning, seeing that growing pile of waste from my coffee habit was a reality check. Regular coffee pods are not biodegradable. They can take up to 500 years to decompose. 500 years! The pod I used yesterday morning will outlast my great-great-great-grandchildren. But here's where my research took a shocking turn. Some studies suggest coffee pods might actually have lower overall greenhouse gas emissions than traditional filter coffee. I know. That sounds insane, given what I just told you. The reason? Pods precisely measure coffee and water, preventing overuse. The most polluting phase of coffee's life cycle isn't the pod itself, it's the agricultural production of the beans, contributing 40 to 80% of total emissions. Producing just 11 grams of Arabica coffee emits twice as much CO2 as manufacturing and disposing of the pods for that coffee. So, while the physical waste is undeniably massive, the emissions debate is surprisingly complex. This is what makes the pod industry so clever. They're banking on invisible emissions mattering less than visible waste in your mind.
Beyond your wallet and the planet, what about your health? Scientists are increasingly recognizing the potential impacts of plastics, including microplastics, on human and animal health. They can act as carcinogens and endocrine disruptors. Now, I have to be fair here. The sources I found don't provide direct evidence that brewing coffee in these pods makes your coffee toxic to drink, but the broader concern about plastic exposure is growing every day.
Then there's taste, and this is where my whole coffee world got flipped upside down. For 2 years, I genuinely believed my Nespresso was making great espresso. I'd offer it to friends proudly. I thought I was sophisticated. Then my coffee snob brother visited. He brought his portable espresso setup, a simple manual lever press, and some freshly roasted beans he'd ground that morning. I made my usual Nespresso. He made his fresh cup. We did a blind taste test. I couldn't even finish the Nespresso. Side by side, it tasted like watered-down, coffee-flavored disappointment. The fresh espresso, it was rich, complex, had actual flavor notes I could identify. The Nespresso tasted artificial, flat, like someone had described coffee to an alien who then tried to recreate it. Here's a quote from my research that perfectly captures what I experienced. The day you taste a proper cup of espresso from a perfectly dialed-in bean side by side with a cup out of an espresso pod, you will understand where the extra money for good quality homemade espresso went. It's not cost per cup that really matters, but quality in the cup. That quote hit me like a caffeine crash. Coffee purists call pod coffee weak as hell and not good compared to a proper brew. And after my taste test, I finally understood why. Factors like coffee bean quality, grind size, and roast time are crucial for taste. Pods offer you zero control over any of these variables. I was drinking whatever some factory decided was good enough for the masses, and I was paying premium prices for mediocre coffee. Look, I get it. Convenience is king. Speed, ease of use, minimal cleanup, it's perfect for our crazy, busy lives. I was that person, rushing out the door every morning, grabbing my pod coffee without a second thought. But this convenience is a trap. It makes us believe that quick and easy means better without considering the full cost. Here's what I discovered and what actually works in real life: reusable pods and refillable K-cups. My first attempt at going pod-free. I bought a $20 reusable pod and used my own grounds. Time difference, maybe 30 seconds longer. The coffee immediately better because I could choose my own beans. Cost savings, massive. French press, this became my game changer. I timed it 3 minutes and 40 seconds from start to finish, including cleanup. My pod routine was 2 minutes and 10 seconds. For an extra 90 seconds, I got coffee that was incomparably better and cost a fraction of the price. Pour over setup. I bought a simple plastic dripper for $18. Once I got the hang of it, it took 4 minutes total and produced coffee that made me wonder why I ever thought pods were acceptable. The revelation: none of these alternatives were significantly more inconvenient. I'd been paying a premium for maybe 60 seconds of time savings. Compostable pods made from plant-based materials were my compromise solution for really rushed mornings. They cost about the same as regular pods but break down in months, not centuries. After 6 months of testing, here's my honest daily routine. French press on weekdays, pour over on weekends when I have more time. Total time investment, maybe 2 extra minutes. Coffee quality, night and day difference. The sources I researched put it perfectly. The change in environmental impact really does start with you, and I can confirm. Even switching to the simplest alternative makes a massive difference for your taste buds, your wallet, and your environmental footprint. My monthly coffee budget went from $87 to $22, and the coffee got better, not worse. So, are coffee pods a scam? While they're not legally fraudulent, the business model cleverly obscures massive long-term financial and environmental costs. They push convenience above everything else, hoping you won't do the math. The convenience is real. I won't lie to you about that. But the environmental cost is staggering. The financial cost adds up fast. And the taste, well, let's just say you're probably not getting the quality you deserve. You now have the facts, the real facts, not the marketing spin. The power to choose a more sustainable, more cost-effective, and arguably better tasting cup of coffee is literally in your hands right now. Here's my question for you. Is the price of convenience truly worth it? Drop a comment and let me know where you stand. Are you team pod or team bean? And if you found this eye-opening, share it with that friend who goes through 3 Nespresso pods before 9 a.m. because the coffee industry is banking on you not knowing these facts. But now you do. The choice is yours.